In the mountains of Persia, a fortress rose that struck fear into the hearts of sultans and kings. From within its stone walls, a single command could influence the fate of entire empires. They were called the Assassins, a secretive order so mysterious that their very name became synonymous with calculated, targeted actions. But who were they really? What made them one of the most feared organizations of the medieval world? The year was 1090. A brilliant Persian scholar named Hassan-as-Sabah stood at a turning point in his destiny. Educated in the courts of Isfahan, he possessed a mind as sharp as Damascus steel and an ambition that reached for the stars. Disillusioned by the corruption of the Seljuk Empire, Hassan discovered a radical interpretation of Islam that promised equality and justice. He traveled to Cairo, where he studied philosophical ideas and unconventional strategies. Upon his return, his eyes were set on Alamut, an impregnable fortress rising from the Alborz Mountains like an eagle's nest. In 1091, through clever negotiation rather than warfare, he seized control of the stronghold. At that moment, the foundations of the assassins were laid, and Hassan transformed from a scholar into the leader of a highly secretive order. Legend speaks of Hassan's most ingenious method of recruitment, a psychological strategy that echoed through the centuries. Within the fortress, it is said that he created a magnificent garden resembling paradise on earth. Crystal-clear fountains flowed, exotic flowers filled the air with their fragrance, and soothing music played endlessly. Carefully selected young recruits were given a mysterious drink and put to sleep. When they awoke, they found themselves in this carefully constructed environment, believing they had witnessed the afterlife described in sacred texts. They were attended by companions and experienced a life of comfort and beauty. Then suddenly they would awaken back in the fortress. They were told that absolute devotion to the cause would grant them a permanent return to this paradise. The assassins developed strategies that resemble what we now call asymmetric warfare. Rather than engaging in large-scale battles, they relied on targeted operations against key individuals. Their first major target came in 1192, Conrad of Montferrat, king of Jerusalem, who was killed just days before his coronation. Their method was consistent, patient infiltration that could take years, followed by a carefully planned strike, often carried out in public settings. This was not random, it was intentional. They aimed to send a message and ensure that news of their actions spread quickly. As a result, many rulers began to fear the possibility of such targeted attacks. Even Saladin, after surviving 2 attempts on his life, eventually chose negotiation over prolonged conflict. What set the assassins apart was not only their methods, but also their ideology. Hassan-i-Sabah built his order on absolute loyalty to truth and knowledge, as he defined it. His followers were not blind fanatics, they were educated individuals trained in philosophy, mathematics, astronomy, and languages. The fortress of Alamut housed one of the most significant libraries of the medieval world, containing works from Greek, Persian, and Indian traditions. The assassins saw themselves as opposing tyranny and religious hypocrisy. They believed they were acting in alignment with a higher sense of justice. Their teachings emphasized that those who truly understood reality were not bound by conventional limitations. This intellectual foundation made them more than just operatives. They were individuals driven by a broader ideological vision. For nearly 200 years, the assassins held significant influence in the Islamic world. However, in 1256, they faced a force they could not withstand, the Mongols led by Hulagu Khan. The Mongols had no interest in negotiation. They systematically destroyed opposition. Alamut fell after a brief siege. Its legendary library was burned, and countless works of knowledge were lost. The last leader was executed, and the order quickly disbanded. Yet their legacy did not disappear. The word assassin became embedded in European languages for centuries. Today, modern intelligence agencies study similar concepts such as infiltration and psychological strategy. Throughout history, various secret societies have claimed inspiration from them. Even today, the Nizari Ismaili community, led by the Aga Khan, traces its spiritual lineage back to Hassani, Sabah, and Alamut, preserving the memory of this historically significant and complex order.